Sex trafficking of minors is said to be one of the fastest growing criminal enterprises in the U.S.
In 2013, I was sold for sex in cities across California by a trafficker who controlled every aspect of my life.
Every year, the United States ranks among one of the worst countries in the world when it comes to human trafficking. Currently, there are 1,091,000 people living in conditions of modern slavery in the USA. This equates to 3.3 victims for every 1,000 people in the country. What is human trafficking? Human trafficking is a trade of humans for the purpose of forced labor, sexual slavery, or commercial sexual exploitation. Even more horrific, more than 50% of human trafficking victims are minors, with a wide majority being mostly young girls. However, it's important to recognize that young boys are also victims. How exactly do traffickers exploit their victims? Some vulnerabilities that traffickers use to lure in victims could be that the individual is living in poverty or homeless, has a migrant status, mental health issues, and is facing substance abuse, and many more.
At a general level, Shared Hope every year puts out our report cards, which kind of helps the state and federal government, or the states and Washington, D.C., see what areas they can improve on in better supporting survivors and in better holding facilitators and traffickers and buyers accountable. And so that's where we would recommend looking at responses the government can take.
Mr. President, human trafficking is one of the most devastating crimes of our time. It operates in the shadows, affecting millions of lives globally, and yet remains an often hidden epidemic. This is a message about the urgency of confronting this crisis. These children endure unimaginable suffering, often for years, with no hope for rescue. But these stories are not lost. They need your help. Although trafficking continues to rise, we are not powerless. Across the world, law enforcement, governments, and nonprofits are working tirelessly to break the chains of trafficking. In the state of Texas, Dallas is one of the top 10 cities nationwide for sex trafficking cases. These cases are often very complicated to investigate and prosecute because they typically span multiple jurisdictions, and survivors often hesitate to cooperate with law enforcement in judicial proceedings.
The 2024 Trafficking in Persons Report is a comprehensive, objective assessment of the state of anti-trafficking efforts across 188 countries and territories, including the United States. For more than 2 decades, this report has documented emerging trends, highlighted areas of progress and setback, identified effective initiatives combating human trafficking. Let me start by saying how grateful I am to Ambassador Dyer and the entire team. I'd also like to thank our colleagues at posts across the world for your work in gathering the information, meeting with host governments, engaging survivors to enrich the report, and further our mission. As always, our diplomacy, American diplomacy, is at its best when it reflects strong bipartisan support. That's why we're also grateful for the partnership from both sides of the aisle in Congress on this crucial and, alas, enduring issue.